thing going on, but they too much of a bitch to say something. They gonna bitch up. My mama say the sealer is as bad as the stealer, right? That means that if you are sitting there with a motherfucker that's stealing and y'all get caught, you just as bad as him. They call it accessory in law. You can be accessory to the fact, after the fact, or before the fact, but an accessory is an accessory, and you can still get life if the crime is right. The game is over. Look, when the La Cosa Nostra came over here, the children of Hannibal of Carthage was exiled from Italy by the Etruscans after the Carthaginian wars with the Romans. When they exiled them, they exiled them to the island of Sicily. So they sent us Mario Puzo so he can write the Godfather movie. So you can see the structure and the order of a family that's ran by a single individual. Right or wrong, it don't matter what he's doing. He's protecting his family and he's feeding his family off the fat of the land. They sent that over here for a reason. It's a reason people say that Biggie and Tupac was tied into two different mafia families. The Rolex ain't no coincidence. That Mickey Mouse Rolex, the double up, and that ain't no coincidence. Right? This is not a happenstance. This is a well-orchestrated plot of all of the Earth tribes from around the planet that met up at the Bang Dong Conference. Look it up. Right? Look it up. Y'all don't know who that is, do y'all? I'm gonna wait till he see this video, and then he gonna put up. He gonna be like, "Look it up." He used to be a comedian, but he ain't cracking no jokes today. Right? So, in Chicago right now, make the wrong move and you gonna get took off the land the hard way. Them youngsters is being informed by the OGs in the Chi of what's taking place in real time, and y'all don't even know it. Y'all don't even know it. Look, don't worry about nobody from Venezuela. That's MS-13, right? They tied up in truces on the West Coast with Bloods and Crips and Mexican Mafia and all that shit. They tied up in the Midwest with truces with the Vice Lords, the GDs, the Peace Stone Nation. They tied up in treaties with us. They ain't coming to sabotage us. That's the support team. Quiet as it's kept, that's the support team. That's why on Rex 84, under the section known as Operation Cable Splicer, it tell them that if they ever wake up, they got to block the border. But the one who tell you to block the border is telling you where the help gonna come from. He telling you where the aid and assist of the tribes. Fuck that motherfucking military shit. We talking about the tribes of the land. We go all the way from the North Pole to the southern tip of South America. This is Turtle Island, and we coming. You can't stop them. Build a wall if you want to. They gonna find a way either through it, around it, over it, or under it. They coming. You can't stop them. You can't stop them. We got treaties with the Hells Angels. Right? This ain't no, they ain't just rolling around on the land for no reason. They used to ride horses 200 years ago. Now they riding motorbikes. Before they was riding Harleys, they was riding something called an Indian. Go look it up. I'm not making this shit up. Then the Lawndale district, before the Vice Lords became Vice Lords, they was called Outlaw Vice Lord Bikers. That ain't no coincidence. Young Vice Lord told me I ain't know what I was talking about. 2 days later, I dropped the receipt on my Morpheus page. It's over there. Go look it up. Right? So, it don't matter. I know everything going on the land. I know all of the tribes. I know right now about the continuity of government, about to come out and expose this shit. The motherfucking Orange Man, because they remember they flashed the White House orange the other day. Who is Agent Orange? That's Donald J. That's Howard the Duck. That's Donald the Duck. Right? That's Agent Orange. Because when negotiations get on you, you can't get that sucker off you. Right? I've been watching him for years, ever since Tupac flipped him to me. Cause I don't trust none of them. And he's second cousins to Hillary Clinton. We needed somebody on the inside that didn't like what was going on and took sides with us, and it was him. Because they look like Indians they don't look like Indians to him, and they don't look like Indians to us, and we the Indians. I'm just saying, you got to be able to see through this bullshit, because it's all a big facade. The government is a fraud. All of their laws is made up to interfere with our natural life process. All of the stuff that they made illegal on the land is targeting us specifically. This is why they said we smoke marijuana and we go crazy and rape white girls. Oh no, make a law, make a law. That was just to keep the chief from chiefing with the chief, so that you can see when the chief be chiefing, he be chiefing up on some shit. Right? We be talking about fourth, fifth dimensional mind communication. We be talking about getting the THC and the CBDs to work together. When we get the munchies, the sugar turn into the dirty burn turn into the rapid fuel fire. But because it's saturated with 70% water, the fire gets smothered and let off a bunch of smoke, and the smoke becomes the black soot, and the soot becomes the carbon, and the carbon is autosentient when it turns into melanin, and the melanin can communicate with the carbon. So now we can talk to the dark mother without ever moving from where we at. Wake up now. This shit over with. This shit so over with that these motherfuckers need to come bow down and kiss my fucking feet so I can kick them in the mouth like the Pope be doing. Let the Pope come kiss my feet. I guarantee you his teeth gonna come out his ass within 30 seconds or less. Let him come kiss my feet. I'll boot his ass from here to Albuquerque. Right? And when he hit to Albuquerque, you know who gonna be waiting for him? A dark man. Chief Zolo. I'm coming. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. This the culture. Chief Zolo is DMX, the Dark Man X, the unknown man that walked out the dark into the light. Through the tunnel. Get at me, dog. Right? Flipping the dog pound off the East Coast to the West Coast. Right? Barking back and forth. Remember, Pluto was a dog in Disney, right? And Goofy was a dog that had a pet dog. Let it sink in. They're telling you the stories all the time. The Califia Queen's replica, after they bombed the castle, they had to build a replica because it had to be accessible to activate the genetic memory of the Califia Queens and make them want to go and back to Cali. Cali got gunplay. Bitches on the runway. So in order to activate the genetic memory, we looking at Tinkerbell putting the pixie dust on the castle. Every time we watch a Disney movie, Tinkerbell say, here it go right here. The Califia Queen's castle is right here. I'm Tinkerbell and I'm here to show it where it's at. And then everybody be thinking that we don't know what we seeing when we looking at it. Just because I ain't say nothing before don't mean I didn't know before. I just didn't tell you before it was time. Paul Messiah said, I'll sell no wine before it's time. And I will tell no truth before it need to be exposed. That's a Masonic code all day long. Then they say they're a traveling man, that mean they're a Mason. They say they're a navigator, that mean they're a Mason. They say that they're a physician, that mean they're a Shriner. Watch out now. They come in all shapes, sizes, and colors, right? But the ones who's pulling the strings, them black ass niggas, now I know why my mama said, I don't like no damn Africans. And I'm like, what the fuck? I thought we was from Africa at the time, but I knew something wasn't right. Then I started noticing that the stuff my mama was telling me was consistent with American tribal heritage. Why is my mama telling me American tribal heritage if I'm supposed to be from Africa? But I don't never remember being born in Africa before. Every time I be born either right here or in the territory of the Sun Wukong. Hail the return of the Sun Wukong. Back from the west, Buddhist scrolls in my arms. I went to tame my Sakuma. Now I'm coming back right now. You don't know nothing about that shit. But look. So the government ran us into seclusion by sending contingents to put them between buffers between us, sending infiltrators in to sweetheart swindle the women in order to wrestle the land so that they can institute the sharecropper agreement and turn the family farm into a plantation to maximize the plan for their nation. Y'all need to pay attention to what I'm telling y'all. I'm not making this shit up. I got too many references to prove it. Let the G's know this is a wrap. This is a wrap. Look, if you don't believe me, keep watching. So back to Jefe Blanco. So when they used to be the Black Hand, right, and they wear their KKK regalia, which is they hombre it's hombre negro something, but it's the Black Brotherhood of Spain. When you look them up, they came over here wearing them white uniforms. So what we had to do in order to overthrow them is we had to invite the people that ran their ass off from over there in Europe over here. Now we gonna have to take some heat from these people too, because they not gonna be able to tell which one of us nappy head, whether it's the Negrito or the Morenos. They don't know by looking at us the difference, right? So they gonna treat all us the same. They gonna call all of us nigga, which came from the conquistadors calling us Los Negritos. When you go look up Los Negritos, the Negritos is a whole. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull it up and read it to y'all because this stuff is so it's second. It's like second step now. Genetic stock of Negrito. Unraveling the genetic history of Negritos and indigenous. National Institute of Health. Let y'all see it. National Institute of Health. It's a unraveling the genetic history of Negritos and indigenous population of Southeast Asia. See, that's where they get you. But that's why Elijah Muhammad say I'm the Asiatic black man, because he's saying we the Negrito stock. We not the niggas, the Morenos, the Moriscos. We are Los Negritos, the Asiatic melanated being, the what they call Melanesians, right? It's the indigenous population of Malaysia, known as Orang Asli, or OA, show huge morphological, anthropological, and linguistic diversity. However, the genetic history of these populations remain obscure. We performed a high-density array genotyping using over 2 million single nucleotide polymorphisms in 3 major groups: Negrito, Shinoy, and Proto-Malay. Structural analysis indicated that although the AO group are genetically closer to East Asian populations, they are substantially distinct. We identified a genetic affinity between Andamansis and Malaysian Negritos, which may suggest any ancient link between these two groups. We also showed the Sonoy and the Proto-Malay may be admixtures between Negrito and EA populations. Formal admixtures tests provided evidence of gene flow between Austro-Asiatic speaking OAs and populations from Southeast Asia. So what they're telling you is that the people in Australia they call Aboriginals have a similar blood lineage to the people from Hawaii, all the way going up into the Ainu people in Japan, going into the Dravidians in India. And these are the people called negritos that was the same people that's from the genetic stock that we from as organic, original Mississippi clay dirt walking. And we rose up out of the Mississippi clay dirt because the Garden of Eden, the cradle of civilization, the birthplace of humanity, is in the Mississippi Delta, the Louisiana outlaw into the ocean, into St. Bernard Parish, where that pyramid is under the ocean that they don't want y'all to know about. I ain't making it up. It said elevated linkage, disequilibrium, and enriched homozygosity found in OAs reflect isolation and bottlenecks experience. What that means that over a period of time, you end up with Tongans and Samoans and Hawaiians and Japanese, but they all from the Negrito stock. But because they got isolated into certain groups, then they formed into they evolved into a solidified stock at the geography that they was. In other words, the part of the land of the earth that they was on, they became a stock of people unto themselves through continuously inbreeding with each other and crossbreeding with each other. The people from the area began to form one people. This is what the plan was for America with the Dirty Moors, because they supposed to come marry into our families and we ain't supposed to know it. But they murdering our big mamas. And they telling us that, oh, Big Mama had a heart attack last night, baby. He done poisoned her. 2 years later, he's selling the family farm as a sharecropper. And he all the time, he know we don't believe in selling land. So what's going on here? Somebody ain't telling us something. Right? And then it said the continuum in divergence time from Negritos to Sonoy and Proto-Malay in combination with ancestral markers provide evidence of multiple waves of migration into SEA, starting with the first out-of-Africa dispersals, followed by early train and subsequent Austronesian expansions. So they're telling you, they're trying anything they can get this out-of-Africa thing. They got to get this in the, like the African people are kindred, but they not exactly the same as us. They got different matrilineal lines, but similar patrilineal lines through to the marrying across the ocean. We got to add mixture of that stuff over here. We don't have a problem with Africans. We got a problem with them motherfuckers that divided it up at the Berlin Conference that look like us and blamed it on pale faces. Them the niggas we got the problem with. Not the people in Africa that's being victimized just like we being victimized. They not the enemy. Right? Ibrahim Traore, he won us. Earthborn, original tribe, ain't buying that shit for nothing. Julius Malema down in South Africa, he not buying that. Look, they killed off my man I forget his name. We got so many of the OGs that they just murdered them. Maurice Bishop. Maurice Bishop was the truest brother that you ever would want to meet in the CIA. This wasn't the KGB. This wasn't Chinese Secret Service. This wasn't the Mossad. This was the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency sent a hit squad down there and murdered that man. Then, turned around, they had a 25-year, under Jimmy Carter gave a 25-year moratorium on CIA-sponsored homicides, assassinations. The first motherfucker they killed when he lifted it was Laurent Kabila. Go look him up. And they was chasing after the brother Jerry Rawlings. They was chasing after all of these progressive leaders. They was at Muammar Gaddafi head. The CIA did that. That's why Pac and them went over in Benghazi. Go pull the footage. See who y'all see in Benghazi. Nigga, this some outlaw shit. This how outlaws ride for real. We ain't never going nowhere. We don't got nowhere to go. We from here. We been here. And we gonna be here. This is just the way it is. You know? So they can tell who they want to. They can call their mama. They can call their daddy. They can call their Uncle Charles, their Uncle Jake. It don't matter to me. They can call their Aunt Susie, they ain't Barbara, they ain't Mary. They can call whoever the fuck they want to, but ain't nobody calling these outlaws off their ass now. It's too late. We won. Victory is assured, saith the Lord. Vengeance is mine, saith Big Rod. Let me get my hands around these motherfuckers' necks, and I'm going to show you what brain banging turns into gang banging at the highest levels when I get to slam one of these motherfuckers off the motherfucking gallows. So I don't even want him to hang. I'm going to throw him off the gallows head first, let him crack his melon, and tell him like they told him about me. Oh, Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. He can't be put back together again. I ain't Humpty Dumpty. I ain't never took the fall off the wall because my potential has never been wasted. Because an egg is infinite potential. And to break the egg before it develops is wasted potential. And all the king's horses and all the king's men will never put Humpty back together again, because once the potential is wasted, it's like squandered money. You can't call it back because it won't come. But if you manage it correctly, the money becomes an infinite seed, a current seed, the current that you see when the goodness flow back into your life. Return of the sweet waters. Oshun speaks. The Oshun priestesses of the Califias and the Chiquita Banana Lady and all of the mascots that they turned us into. We ain't never stopped being here. Go into any tobacco shop in the South, one of them old Indian tobacco shops, and you're going to see a big Tuscaloosa looking Indian in every tobacco shop. That's because we was tobacco chiefs. They didn't have tobacco in Europe. They came over here to get that shit. So what was we doing with the tobacco? We wasn't having all of them toxins on that tobacco. Because nicotine is a neurostimulant, they had to poison it to stop you from smoking. Right? Then they don't want you to know none of this shit. They want you to think everything good for you is poison. That's because everything good for you, they poisoned it. Deliberately, with malice and aforethought and ill intent. The desire was to remove us from the land. If you don't believe me, we can go talk to Ramona Africa. We can sit down and have a conversation with the sister, and she gonna tell you how they did her family in Philadelphia in 1985. She's still here. And she ain't the only one of them still here. They didn't kill them all, but they was unfortunate enough to get rid of John, the mastermind, because they don't want no chiefs doing no chief shit on our own land. They made all our natural practices illegal. We need a license to go fish. What is a license? Permission to do something illegal. We need a license to bear arms. The Constitution said the right to bear arms shall not be infringed. By making you need a registration and a license is an infringement upon your inalienable right to be able to protect yourself and your family. The right to bear arms has nothing to do with hunting and everything to do with when the time comes to fight this government. Now, we got too many in the military of us that's starting to wake up to what's going on. We got too many of them high-ranking white hats that's now the new Jefe Blancos that's working for us instead of the enemy now, because they believed in some shit called the Constitution wholeheartedly, and they believed in that they was going to protect America from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Who is the domestic enemy? The state. The state is the domestic enemy. They the squatters on the land, the imposters, the frauds, the usurpers. They don't belong here. They need to go. Shut their government buildings down, close this bitch up, lock this bitch down. It's done. Ain't we done with this shit. If anybody, get the youngsters together. We about to start having youth summits to tell our children that they call gangbangers. I'm going to personally go to O Block and tell them what they did to turn us against each other. I'm going to personally go down there to Motown and tell them Stones what they did to turn us against each other. I'm going to get in touch with Prince Wakita and say, hey, Keita, I need your support to tell the youth what they did to our people to have us killing each other like we don't know what's going on, so we can be focused on the right enemy. I'm going to go, Cali, wherever they send for me at, I'm going to be going. But first, we got to get our shit back. We got to get organized. But Martin told us when he discovered, see, everybody don't know that it was two Martin Luther Kings philosophically. It was the pre-1965 Martin that saw the assassination of Malcolm X. And right before Malcolm got assassinated, he went to the 63 March on Washington and told Martin, no matter what happened to me, go to Arizona and spend some time with the old man. And when you leave, you will never be the same, and I guarantee you, you will see the enemy clearly. That's what Malcolm told him. And you know what he did? 1965. It's called the historical meeting. Martin Luther King went to Arizona, spent 7 days, 5 or 7 days. It was a week. I don't know if it was a 5-day week or a 7-day week. But he spent a week with Elijah, and Elijah gave him the rundown of the enemy. He came out of there, and he said, when we go into Washington to get our check. And then he told you why. How they undermined us, how they undergirded the peasantry of Europe with an economic floor, mechanized their farms. At the same time they was doing that, they was stealing our land through sharecropping agreements. And then they was turning around, making it difficult for us to do business anywhere, because if you didn't have pale skin, you was not allowed to do business in this game of Monopoly they playing on us. The Monopoly became a plutarchy, and we won. And Pluto represents Scorpio. And I am the Scorpion King, because I'm the king of all the Scorpios. I'm the motherfucking Cyclone Center. I am the eye of the storm. And I don't even want to be. That's the crazy part. I ain't want this shit. People be thinking that this shit be glamour and glitz and shit. This shit is miserable, painful, long-suffering struggle. And if you ain't got that in your blood, you not going to make it. You going to fold. You going to sell out. You going to quit. You going to give up. You going to surrender. You going to tap out. Whatever the term for loss, lose, you going to do that shit, because this is not no motherfucking easy. Man, 35 fucking years of straight book reading. I done read so many books. I be seeing books in my sleep that I ain't never seen before, and I read them motherfuckers too. I'm like, where this book come from? Then turn around 2-3 years later, here go the book. I read that book in a dream. How in the fuck is that possible? Somebody somewhere is telling me something, and I don't know how they getting this information to me, but I'm getting it. And it's coming up, and I'm coming with receipts, right? So this shit traced all the way back to Babylon. The stone that the builders rejected has now become the chief cornerstone. And the chief cornerstone ain't the chief cornerstone until it become the capstone. And the only way it can be a capstone, it got to be caught up at a royal arc degree, where the red house and the blue house meet in the middle. And if they meet in the middle, that means it's perfect center. That means it's 50-50, left to right, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other, no matter how you cut it. Right? So the sisters is a 5-point star, the brothers is a 6-point star. The star of Venus is the star of the divine feminine. The star of David, as they call it, which is really the shield of Solomon, is the divine masculine. And when you put them together, you don't get an 11-point star. You get a shooting star. And the shooting star comes out in the form of the semen, and the semen fertilizes the egg, and the egg drops down into the portal where it can be molded without the aid of the hands of man. And that's how you know that God is with us. Because every time a woman push one of these babies out, whether they snatch it out by abortion or whether she carry it to term, every time they pull him out, God was in her womb at work. At work. Whether they was what they call a heterosexual union produced, or whether they was parthogenically produced, God was still working. And if they was parthogenically produced, that tell you that God can't be no man. And Earth is a feminine planet. It's only 2 feminine planets in this solar system. That's Venus and Earth. And Venus is the divine mother that rides with the sun Mercury on her heels. And they say the elephant rode to town with a monkey on her back. They didn't know he was going to grow up to be a full-fledged fucking gorilla. Pounding on his motherfucking chest, beating on the concrete, swinging from lamp poles until these motherfuckers get the code. Did dash, the ghetto code, because the revolution won't be televised, but this shit played the fuck out on social media. And everybody watched it, but they didn't know what they was looking at. Because right before your very eyes, you won't even realize that you can't see me. You don't know what I'm doing while I'm doing it, but because you don't know what I'm doing, you assuming that I don't know what I'm doing, when I know exactly what I'm doing. Mama said, tell the truth, shame the devil. And then Big Mama said, don't worry, he ain't gonna leave no stone unturned. So I done flipped every stone, which is every chief. I only needed 50. I flipped 50 chiefs to the public. That's all recorded, time-stamped, and dated according to the oral tradition. They can't say I didn't. I told them who the enemy was, where they came from, how they got here, what kind of war they waged, who we was fighting, how we was fighting them, the methods of war, the stratagems, the tactics, everything they used against us. Farrakhan got a clip. I might be on TikTok, but it's called "What is a Democracy?" It's from a bigger video, but the section that the brother was playing is called "What is a Democracy?" And everybody that I had named, he named was killed by niggas. Niggas. Then I just got done watching Malachi. Malachi had me pumped.